One does not simply walk into Mordor. Originating from Peter Jackson's 2001 epic adaptation of The Lord of the Rings, this meme stems from a highly dramatic moment when Sean Bean's character, Boromir, issues a grave warning about the dangers of Sauron's realm.
One does not simply walk into Mordor. It's black gates.
The internet, in its infinite wisdom, seized upon this deadly serious exposition as early as 2004 on the Something Awful forums. Users began swapping out the dreaded fictional location for everyday, mundane tasks, turning the phrase into a customizable template to express the inherent difficulty of just about anything. It caught on rapidly because it perfectly dramatized the struggle of daily inconveniences, becoming so deeply ingrained in our culture that Google Maps even programmed it as an Easter egg for anyone asking for walking directions to the fictional land. The Hitler Rant. Pulled from the 2004 German historical drama Downfall, this meme relies on a masterfully harrowing performance by Bruno Ganz portraying a doomed dictator in his final bunker days. Around 2006, internet creators began stripping away the actual historically grave German dialogue and layering on fabricated, increasingly ridiculous English subtitles.
Und stößt auf Stahnsdorf vor. Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow. Und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg-Marsdorf-Karlshorst gelangt.
The meme works by taking world-ending, table-pounding rage and redirecting it toward hilariously trivial grievances, like discovering the new Adam Sandler movie is sold out or getting banned from Xbox Live. It became wildly popular because it serves as a bizarrely cathartic way to mock absolute tyranny, turning a terrifying historical figure into a punchline for minor modern frustrations. This is Sparta. Zack Snyder's highly stylized 2006 action film 300 gave the internet one of its earliest and loudest audio-visual remixes. During a tense scene, King Leonidas, played by Gerard Butler, screams this phrase before kicking a Persian emissary down a seemingly bottomless well.
Madness. This is Sparta!
By 2007, early YouTube creators began isolating the aggressive pitch of his roar, splicing it with heavy techno beats and stuttering visual loops to create the legendary Sparta remix. It exploded in popularity because it basically invented a chaotic new editing style, proving that intense cinematic dialogue could be weaponized into purely absurd, brain-tickling auditory chaos. You don't say. Sourced from the 1988 dark comedy Vampire's Kiss, this internet staple features Nicolas Cage at his absolute most unhinged. In the film, Cage's character is slowly losing his grip on reality and terrorizes a secretary while bulging his eyes and flaring his nostrils in a maniacal grimace.
On the totem pole here, Alva. The lowest. Do you realize that? Every other secretary who's been here longer than you, Alva. Every one. And even if there was someone here who was here just one day longer than you, I still wouldn't ask that person to partake in such a miserable job as long as you were around. That's right, Alva. I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to.
Online, this terrifying face was often converted into a high-contrast black and white drawing or used as a simple still image, accompanied by an incredibly sarcastic phrase used to disarm painfully obvious statements. It gained massive traction on early message boards as the ultimate visual sigh, even though Cage himself eventually expressed frustration that his carefully crafted avant-garde acting was reduced to a cheap, decontextualized punchline. Smug Willy Wonka. In the 1971 classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Gene Wilder portrays the eccentric candy magnate with a gentle, excited smile as he introduces a top-secret machine to a group of children. The internet, however, completely hijacked the sweet intent of this cinematic moment, transforming his welcoming expression into the ultimate avatar of patronizing sarcasm. Popping up everywhere in the early 2000s, the meme typically features Wonka leaning casually on his hand, ready to deliver a condescending one-liner about someone else's perceived lack of intelligence or worldly experience. It became essential to digital communication because tone is notoriously difficult to convey in text, and this single image perfectly projects effortless intellectual superiority without typing a single insult. I'm something of a scientist myself. Willem Dafoe delivers this line in Sam Raimi's 2002 Spider-Man, while flashing a slightly self-satisfied grin to relate to the teenage Peter Parker.
Thanks, Ted. Peter, may I introduce my father, Norman Osborn?
Heard so much about you.
Great honor to meet you, sir.
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Decades after the film premiered, this precise screenshot mutated into a widely used reaction image to mock unearned intellectual arrogance. It is deployed whenever someone achieves a comically trivial feat, like successfully plugging in a router to fix the internet, and then falsely equates it to high-level academic expertise. The format became beloved because of its modularity, as users constantly swap out the profession to fit the joke, perfectly satirizing the modern internet user's tendency to act like a genius after doing the bare minimum. The Tony Stark eye roll. During the 2012 blockbuster The Avengers, billionaire genius Tony Stark responds to an earnest, naive comment from Captain America with a spectacular, full-body physical reaction.
Monkeys. I do not understand.
I do. I understood that reference.
Played flawlessly by Robert Downey Jr., this specific motion quickly evolved into the collective, exasperated eye roll of the entire internet. It is heavily weaponized in digital arguments to signal that the opposing viewpoint is simply too exhausting, pedantic, or foolish to even dignify with a written response. The meme skyrocketed in use because Stark already embodies the pinnacle of exhausted intellect, giving everyday people the perfect visual tool to abruptly end a tiring conversation and walk away. Calvin Candie laughing. Quentin Tarantino's 2012 film Django Unchained introduced audiences to a despicable plantation owner played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who during a tense dinner scene laughs uproariously at his own joke.
2 weeks in Boston. I've been joking. Man. 2 weeks in Boston.
Isolated from its horrifying historical and narrative context, the image of his smug, obnoxious grin while holding a coconut drink became a wildly popular digital reaction. People use it constantly to express lighthearted, self-satisfied mirth, especially when pulling off a successful prank or watching chaotic internet drama unfold. It became deeply ingrained in social media because of how easily the internet sanitizes movie villainy, eagerly divorcing an actor's charming facial geometry from the vile nature of the actual character to make a snappy punchline. Pointing Rick Dalton. Another Tarantino creation, this time from the 2019 film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, features Leonardo DiCaprio as a fading actor relaxing in a chair. While watching television, he suddenly sits up, beer and cigarette in hand, and points aggressively at the screen the exact moment his guest-starring character appears.
Booze don't need nobody. Whoop, whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
What's the trouble, Corporal?
The internet rapidly adopted this incredibly specific gesture in 2020 to symbolize the sudden, excited joy of recognizing something familiar. It serves as a digital mirror for hyper-specific relatability, breaking the fourth wall of media consumption and allowing users to instantly broadcast that warm, fuzzy feeling of spotting an inside joke or a movie title dropped mid-scene. The Leo cheers. Cementing Leonardo DiCaprio as a pillar of internet humor, this image comes from the glitzy, explosive introduction of Jay Gatsby in Baz Luhrmann's 2013 adaptation of The Great Gatsby. Backed by fireworks and orchestral music, Gatsby looks directly into the camera, smiles warmly, and raises a glass.
His smile was one of those rare smiles that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life.
Divorced entirely from the tragic emptiness of the literary character, the internet repurposed this visual of extreme wealth into a ubiquitous, everyday digital toast. Whether congratulating a friend on a major life milestone or sarcastically celebrating the completion of a mind-numbing corporate task, it became a massive hit because it offers a perfectly tailored aesthetic of ultimate validation and high society approval. You guys are getting paid? In the 2013 comedy We're the Millers, a makeshift family discusses the financial payout for a dangerous smuggling operation, prompting actor Will Poulter's character to contort his face in pure shock. Realizing he is the only one participating out of sheer naivety without any financial reward, he asks this fateful, heavily memed question.
And I'm getting 1,000!
You guys are getting paid?
The format quickly became a highly structured vehicle for highlighting systemic exploitation, asymmetrical power dynamics, or plain old corporate greed. It went viral because it offers a brilliant, easily digestible comedic template for people to vent about unpaid labor, bad deals, and the horrifying realization that everyone else in the room is getting a much better cut of the pie. What if I told you? Lawrence Fishburne's character Morpheus serves as the ultimate philosophical guide in the 1999 sci-fi classic The Matrix, frequently associated with an image of his face reflected in his trademark mirrored sunglasses. Overlaid with this profound phrase, the meme is used to dismantle everyday societal norms and deliver mind-blowing realizations to the reader. Fascinatingly, this is a prime example of the Mandela effect, as Morpheus never actually speaks this specific line in the film. The collective internet essentially fabricated the quote around 2012 to engineer a cleaner, more efficient way to drop truth bombs, rewriting cinematic history just to make their online arguments land with a bit more punch. For the better, right? Derived from a pastoral romantic scene in Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones, this 4-panel format features Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman discussing galactic governance. The comic strip structure shows Anakin making a bold statement, Padme responding with a hopeful smile, Anakin staring back with a dark smirk, and Padme repeating her question with dawning anxiety. Much like our friend Morpheus, this exact 14-word exchange does not exist in the movie, but was constructed by digital culture to distill the mechanics of political gaslighting and sinister intent. It became a beloved satirical tool for critiquing bait-and-switch tactics, whether dealing with authoritarian creep in the real world or just a terribly managed corporate policy rollout. Look at me, I'm the captain now. The 2013 biographical thriller Captain Phillips features a chilling, largely improvised line by first-time actor Barkhad Abdi, portraying a ruthless pirate leader. After violently storming the bridge of a cargo ship, he forces eye contact with the protagonist and asserts absolute dominance with this terrifying declaration.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Despite the life-or-death context of the film, the internet rapidly adapted the stark image into a macro deployed whenever someone forcefully usurps control of a situation. It is utilized during hostile corporate takeovers, political shifts, or even petty domestic disputes over who holds the television remote, proving our endless ability to turn cinematic trauma into a casual mechanism for managing everyday power struggles. Perfectly balanced as all things should be, the Marvel Cinematic Universe generated immense meme capital through its primary antagonist, Thanos, in the 2018 epic Avengers: Infinity War. Explaining his universe-ending philosophy, the cosmic warlord balances a knife on his finger and utters this line to justify a rather aggressive population control strategy.
Look. Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
The web immediately adopted the phrase as a reactionary mechanism to describe absurdly mundane dichotomies and trivial coincidences. Whether a video has an exactly equal number of likes and dislikes, or the office printer breaks the very second the snack cabinet is restocked, invoking the gravitas of a purple supervillain elevates low-stakes observations into grand cosmic poetry. No, I don't think I will. Following the apocalyptic stakes of the Marvel Infinity Saga, Avengers Endgame concludes with an elderly Steve Rogers calmly passing on his vibranium shield. When asked by a friend to divulge the details of his secret time-traveling domestic life, he smiles warmly, looks off into the distance, and politely refuses.
No, I don't think I will.
Popping up heavily in 2019, this artifact became the ultimate digital anthem for setting firm boundaries. Users deploy the screenshot as a sarcastic, gentlemanly refusal to engage in exhausting tasks, unwinnable arguments, or overbearing expectations like studying for finals. It transforms Captain America's cinematic closure into a polite but impenetrable wall of defiance against the endless demands of modern life. Willem Dafoe looking up. In the 2018 biographical drama At Eternity's Gate, Willem Dafoe plays the tortured artist Vincent van Gogh and delivers a scene where he stares directly up at a darkened sky. His expression projects profound, paralyzed anxiety and existential dread, which naturally made it prime real estate for internet adaptation. Gaining major traction as a GIF around 2020, it was famously used to respond to severe weather warnings, perfectly capturing the feeling of being utterly overwhelmed by an approaching, unavoidable force. Relying purely on Dafoe's ability to project raw vulnerability, it provides users with a brilliant visual proxy for modern panic, whether facing divine retribution or just a rapidly approaching Monday morning. The Jeremiah Johnson nod of approval. In the 1972 American Western Jeremiah Johnson, legendary actor Robert Redford plays a rugged mountain man. The defining sequence features a heavily bearded, fur-clad Redford turning to the camera to offer a warm smile and a slight, affirming nod. Decades later, this quiet moment reached peak virality as the universal signal of profound respect, encouragement, and agreement online. Famously, it also generated a massive case of mistaken identity, as a vast portion of the internet falsely assumed the rugged face belonged to comedian Zach Galifianakis. This charming misattribution shows how digital culture happily severs an actor from their own face, turning a specific performance into an immortal, ahistorical archetype. Bully Maguire. Few cinematic moments have experienced as radical a cultural reappraisal as Tobey Maguire's dark, jazz-infused sidewalk strut in Sam Raimi's creatively troubled 2007 film Spider-Man 3. Originally reviled as a cringeworthy misstep where Peter Parker completely fails to act cool under the influence of an alien symbiote, digital creators resurrected the sequence a decade later. Through advanced editing, they seamlessly inserted the aggressive, dancing Bully Maguire into countless other movies, effortlessly defeating powerful villains with sheer, awkward confidence. It became legendary as a post-ironic reclamation of cinematic cringe, elevating a deeply flawed narrative choice into a beloved, omnipotent internet folk hero. The Patrick Bateman Sigma face. In the 2000 film American Psycho, Christian Bale plays a vacuous, status-obsessed Wall Street banker and serial killer. While the movie was built as a biting critique of toxic masculinity and corporate greed, corners of the internet in the early 2020s co-opted clips of Bateman walking with headphones as unironic, aspirational content. This birthed the Sigma male grindset trend, which praised the ruthless independence the film originally mocked. A hilarious counter-movement quickly arose, where users began artificially contorting their faces to mimic Bale's exaggerated expressions. This reactionary face became a tool to brutally satirize the very same alpha male culture, proving how one character can simultaneously be worshipped and ruthlessly mocked by the exact same internet.